One of the challenges you are going to face as an SSIS developer is documenting what packages do, why things happen in a package for either yourself, for people looking at this package later on, i.e., colleagues, coworkers, for managers, or for some other documentation procedure, SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley, different reasons you're going to have to document what's going on in the packages. These SSIS packages for many organizations are mission critical. You have to have these things running because they populate the data warehouse, and then we have to ensure that the data in the data warehouse is clean, that it has good data in it, and therefore we have to maintain the data quality. I mean, these are really, really important pieces of the puzzle. So you want to be able to share with people what each package does. This is a challenge. And I'm actually probably doing this a little bit early. You could make the argument, well, Scott, why are you talking about this now? Why not wait until you've shown us all the tasks to where we have a complex real world package and then talk about it? Well, I think that it follows fairly nicely here into what a beginner needs to know. You need to know good practices, good things to start with so that you develop well, I think. And documentation, having a good layout, having clean designs, having good annotations is part of being a professional SSIS developer. So you may as well, in my opinion, start early. Okay, enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to open up the previous package that I did in the previous video here where we were just doing our first SSIS project. It strictly had one little SSIS task, and that was to export the SQL Server data. But I wanted to show you a couple of different things that we can do from an annotation perspective. One of the good things that you can do is you can right click down here and you can add an annotation. An annotation is simply you using text and doing that. You can also just start typing. So like you don't even have to do that. You could just move your cursor over here and say, my name is Scott Wiggum. That's one of the new features that I like, to being able to do that. Although, to be honest, I don't really find that too helpful. I generally like the idea of being forced to add the annotation because inevitably I've messed up and I need to delete the annotation here. Once you have whatever it is you need to do, like, I generally will give this a nice name, and then I can, if I wanted to, I come back over here and in the properties, I could make some changes over here. Some of these will have descriptions. This one, you can see it's the data flow task here. So I could give it a description as well. So move data. Now, other places that you can get information, and the problem with this description is unless you know where to find it, it's not there, or it's not obvious rather. Other things you can do is add annotations like this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this particular one. Move this around and I'll go ahead and I'll add my annotation here. So I probably would not say something like export SQL Server data to text, right? Because I've already said that. If I'm going to annotate, generally speaking, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to provide a descriptive paragraph or sentences that explain the how and why of a particular package. I might have a paragraph that explains the connections of a given package. And I might many times it's probably not on a per task basis that I'm doing my annotations, but I often have like a little descriptionary paragraph. I don't think that's even a word. Is it descriptionary? So package, like I might name this package export dbo.course to c course.txt. Okay, so I would list that. And at that point now, that might become my title. So I'd set the annotation font and I would say, that's a 14-point font in black and it's bold. And so now up at that's probably a little bit too big here, but so now I would start adding the bulk of what's going down. So I might have my descriptive paragraphs here. And one challenge you're going to have as a beginner is, well, Scott, I'm hitting the enter key and it's not taking me to the next line. What's the problem? You have to hit control. So you hit the control key, it takes you to the next line, and now you can say description. This package will export the SQL Server table, and okay, so now you can see I'm getting a little trouble. So now I highlight this and I say set the text annotation font. Well, I want you to be 10-point regular, but you notice that it applies to the whole annotation. So you hit Control Z because that's undo, right? Oh no, it's not undoing all the stuff. So what I'm going to have to do is cut, which actually if you hit Control X will work. And then I set the annotation font to be back to bold 14, or let's make it 12 because that was big enough. And now I'm going to make a new annotation down here. And this is going to become my description. Okay. So then you just line them up. Now it would be awesome if you could like say, hey, these guys are linked. What you can do is you can group them. So the group now is simply as it is implies, it's a logical grouping of things. And what's cool is you can collapse and expand the group. So now I could name this package documentation. And then I put in my description down here, the export to dbo.course to a text file. This package, and again, control plus enter. This package is to be executed nightly on the SQL Server via a SQL Server job. To control enter, ensure that the text file always has the latest data. Okay. Pieces of note, like I might move this down here, hit control enter, enter. Important, the text file will be overwritten each time this package executes. You could also, I've seen this done as well, document any variables that you might have, which I know we hadn't learned about, but we will. You could document connections. So you might have a section called connections, and you'd have SQL Server, local dot from Excel, and text, and then C colon, whatever it would be, courses.txt. So maybe I'll make my description all caps up here to delineate the differences here. So this could be part of your in-package documentation. Now, other things that you can do to make this more helpful or more readable, I'll move this up in here, is when we are working with multiple things, like I might have several different items, and some are long and some are fat and some are thin and long, and etc. What I can do is I can format those so that they are all nice and neat. So I could grab these two. So I'm going to hit the shift key and I'm going to highlight a couple of these. So notice that I can pick out a couple of these with the shift key, and I go under format. And you notice the auto size. It auto sizes these based on the text of the name. Well, if you wanted them all equal, then just simply say auto layout, or make same size rather, width, height, both. I think that's fairly easy to understand. Now we can align the lefts so that they're all in the same line. Now we could make the vertical spacing equal between them. Now you can decrease the vertical spacing between them. So there's a lot of alignment and formatting. Please make these things look pretty. Nobody wants to see ugly packages here. Last bit. There are third-party tools that will help you with your SSIS documentation. I have tried a couple of them and they fit certain scenarios. I'm hesitant to give too many recommendations there because that is a very growing market, and what's good today in October of 2009 may change drastically by the time you watch this video. Trying to think. Uh, I have my best luck with this in-package documentation approach that I have listed here, and maybe an Excel spreadsheet. I know it sounds pretty crazy, that lists each package and the functionality of the package with a note to view the package for more information. I think you'll probably find that's a fairly solid way that most SSIS developers will develop their packages and document them as well. However, you may have more stringent requirements. And if you do, go to your search engine of choice, and here's your search term: SSIS package documentation. Search for that. You're going to find there's at least two most popular tools that are out there, and then there are some fringe tools, and then there are, as of this writing, some of the bigger companies just starting to recognize, hey, people would pay us lots of money if we could get them something that would do this. So right now I can tell you that you're probably going to be expecting to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 to $400 per server that you want to document if you wanted to buy a third-party tool. And those third-party tools can generate fancy reports and things. I'm happy, though, with the package documentation that I do inside the actual package.